Okay, update number 2. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, that's probably looking at me. Hello. Okay, so for this one, we determined some equations we might need. First is 1 half k times delta x squared, which is 1 half the spring constant times the change in the spring squared, and that's going to give us our potential energy, which we can change to kinetic energy so we can find the velocity that we need. We also have the standard equation for projectile motion and a force if need be. So using a random website, which is not this one, but this one, we found that if we have a velocity of 17.5 feet per second, it will hit 10 feet exactly. So, doing some calculations, we determined the amount of potential energy needed. However, we found that springs don't have spring constants attached to them. So if we really want to find our spring constant, we're going to need the formula for potential energy, which is mass times gravity times the height, and convert that to 1 half k delta x squared. But we would need to test a lot of springs if we want to find like that perfect spring constant. Because it's going to be very difficult to find a velocity of 17.5 on a spring. So we might have to experiment with different spring constants at different angles to find how far it would take to get to, 10 feet. But at least we know that if we bring it down by a certain distance, x, then we can find the minimum spring constant needed, and everything else we can just change the angle. So as long as we know a minimum spring constant, we'll be able to do this project. And we just need to determine what that minimum is. Other than that,
The
pictures? Oh yeah. We also designed a little rudimentary thing. So we have to have bring the spring down. If it's going to be in a PC pipe, we need a spring, or we need something to grab onto connected to it. So if we have a little base where the ping pong ball rests, we can pull it down through the side and then launch it. We still have a large base so it doesn't move, angle 45 for maximum distance, though we might need to change the angle depending on how powerful our spring is. And then that should be it, right guys? Alright.